Anil Rai Gupta from Havells, thank you very much for coming on. We had a great conversation earlier where we were actually talking about Havells and the company, the breadth of products that you have. Tell us a little bit about your consumer, and then we want to get into the products and how you're actually changing that.
Right. So, Norm, as we discussed, sometime in the 80s we started out as a industrial products company. And in fact, let me tell you a story here that my father, who was the founder chairman, he actually started the digital transformation of Havells in 1981 when he bought a microcomputer for 6 lakh rupees when the turnover of the company was 60 lakh rupees. So he spent 10% of his turnover and annual profits equal one times the annual profits. I wouldn't be able to do that today, with the size of the turnover and the profits. So the digital transformation started for our industrial customers. But at that time, the digital concept of the company was very internal. And I believe even till about 5 or 10 years ago, the technology was there to use the technology or IT for internal purposes. And I think sometime about 5 or 10 years ago, when it started becoming very fashionable to say that we are a very consumer-oriented company, and as and when our customers started expanding into more consumer product categories, into millions of customers rather than maybe hundreds or thousands of customers, that was the time when digital transformation actually started happening. The cloud computing technology started coming in, and it became very easy for us to go very close to the consumer. Actually, we were just saying it, but technology started helping us to go finally to the consumer, which was a household. So
Do you know who the consumer is? Can you actually identify the person who buys your product through the channel?
Right. So actually, for a company like Havells, we have lots of consumers. Not just household consumers. We have electricians, we have consultants, we have our distributors who directly buy from us. We have hundreds of thousands of retailers who buy from our distributors. So the challenge here is, how do we connect to those people who are not directly connected with us? So we sell to our distributors, but they sell to the retailers. The electrician influences the retailers and the consumer. They are not directly connected to us. And the way we are using technology now is actually we are able to tell what and when our retailer is selling to the consumer, and the consumer through IoT, we hope in the next few months, we should be able to identify what product the consumer has bought from us and when the person needs the service. So we actually sell a product in about 20 rupees a switch, for which we give home service, to a 10,000 rupees geyser and hopefully a 30,000 rupees air conditioner in the future. So yeah, through an acquisition which we did last week. So we add products. We have about 20,000 SKUs, and to make sure how we service the final consumer who is like 4,000 meters above sea level, as Sangeeta just mentioned, and make sure that the product is available to him.
So when you think about lifetime value of a customer, which was once you've acquired a customer, which is quite expensive in your case, once you've acquired them, what are you doing in the products today? What are you thinking about doing to actually grow that lifetime value?
I think the way we are looking at is to have IoT-enabled products. For every product, have a chip available, and as I said, we have 20,000 SKUs. And if we go deeper into the homes or to the industrial consumer, the way we can increase loyalty for our consumer is, for example, in an industry, the motor is running, and if we are able to predict, just like the mobile phone, if you're able, the capsule consumption, if you're able to tell the consumer that your motor now needs service, that's the kind of loyalty that we can build in. Or a household consumer, if he knows that the air conditioner or the geyser now needs service, and our person and the electrician somewhere in the locality can actually make a call at the appropriate time. So that is the kind of empowerment that we are trying to build into our influencers and consumers.
Can you come full circle? So you talked about motor design, back to the designer, so the designer can actually see what's happening to a toaster or a vacuum cleaner.
Right, exactly. The way you mentioned that the product life cycle or the product development cycle is now reducing. The way we're looking at it is, in future we'll be able to know what's happening with the consumer in the product, and we can actually dovetail all that information back to our R&D and manufacturing and keep coming out with betterment in the products regularly.
So A question that I get often in scenarios like this is, what does it mean to you as a company as you're changing? What are you doing changing culture because you're going from a traditional appliance manufacturer into this digital world? Culturally, changing the company, changing your people, what are you doing in that line?
Exactly, Norm, as you said, you can build a digital business unless and until you build digital capabilities. And I think, for us, we have 3,000 salespeople on the road. We have internal capabilities, R&D teams, and they need to be extremely comfortable. The best part is the younger generation is very tech savvy. So, it's not difficult to train them on new technologies. It's the problem with our age group, but it's the younger people. In fact, not only internally within the organization, but our larger stakeholders, the distributors, the retailers, the younger generation is coming. Whenever we roll out a new product in terms of technology, they are very quick to adapt. So I believe that building the digital capability, if you have the vision, it's not going to be as difficult as it used to be some time back.
Yeah. We see that very often is a vision coming from the top, executed through the company, but all the way from the designer to the person selling. In your case, the actual sale is occurring not as someone from your company. So how do you transform that culture to them, to actually the end seller, who's not a direct employee?
Yeah, so a lot of training, a lot of online training now. Earlier used to be a lot of physical training, a lot of online training, up to not only the owners of the shops, but also their sales boys. So it's not our salespeople, the sales boys at the electrical retail counter, and through online training. And what I'm seeing here today is through virtual reality. If we can, at low cost, transfer that to a large number of people, including the electrician and the retail outlets, I think we're building more and more sales capabilities for all of them.
So do you see it changing your supply chain, of your inbound products as well? Your whole supply chain is changing as well, or is it just the design going forward?
No, I think up to the vendors level and up to the last consumer level, we see a lot of possibility in.
So what about the time frame? How long does it take to do this? Is this happening quickly?
Amazingly, I think the time periods now are contracting very, very rigorously. I mean, when I talk to my IT team, we talk about vision. Earlier, we used to talk about a couple of years, and now they talk about a few weeks, which is very heartening to know. Because, for example, today you don't really need to have to set up data centers. You have cloud facilities available. It's not really everything. A lot of ready-made things are available. So the development cycles have reduced quite considerably.
So thanks for the story. What about a quick message for our folks over here? If they're thinking about this, what's the one thing that they could do to get themselves going at your peers?
I think it's just whatever one can think of.
Just do it.
Just do it. It's so much easy now. It just needs a little bit of vision and thinking.
And culture change.
And culture change, of course.
Thank you very much. Thanks for coming.